Hello everyone, Silent here and welcome back to another episode of Bugrock of the Week. Today we're going to be covering something that I've never done before, and that is a Bedrock Edition Beta. The 1.16.0.51 beta for Bedrock Edition just released, and this is the first 1.16 beta for Bedrock with all of the main Nether update features in it. There is a lot of amazing stuff in this beta, especially because they combined the 1.15 and 1.16 updates for Bedrock Edition into one massive update. So there's a ton of parity updates, a ton of bug fixes, and a ton of new features. However, we won't be covering most of that because today we're purely going to be looking at the two biggest bug fixes and the entire 1.16 update. If you guys like these kinds of videos, then we can cover the other pretty massive bug fixes as well in a separate video. But today we're just going to be looking at the two biggest ones that have massive impacts on the Bedrock edition of Minecraft. So before we jump into things, please let me know what you think about these kinds of beta videos down in the comment section of the video or in the upper right in the poll. I've never done a beta video before, and if you guys like these and want to see more of them, then I can definitely make more of them in the future, either just like, beta videos covering all the new features, or Bugrock videos where we cover all the important bugs that definitely need to be fixed before it gets rolled out to a full release. I don't know, I'm up for whatever you guys want to do, so let me know your feedback down in the comment section. I would greatly appreciate it. One thing that should be clarified right at the beginning of this video is that they are skipping the 1.15 update. 1.15 for Bedrock Edition is not cancelled, they're simply taking all the features, parity updates, and bug fixes from 1.15 and adding that to 1.16. They're more or less just skipping the 1.15 update number, going straight to 1.16 for Bedrock Edition. That way Bedrock and Java are finally on the same exact update numbers. There's nothing to worry about, we're still getting all the same features and bug fixes. So they have fixed two major bugs in this update. Of course, the first one is block lag. Block lag is finally fixed. Block lag is over, party. Somebody play the crab rave because I'm pretty sure I can't. Copyright is a painful thing. And also, they have added the mob despawning to Bedrock Edition. Basically, this update was made for me and I absolutely love it. Thank you, Mojang. Two massive issues that have been plaguing Bedrock Edition for absolutely ages have finally been addressed in the 1.16 update. So we're going to go over mob despawning first, since that is the biggest change that is going to have a massive ripple effect on all of Bedrock Edition. And honestly, this change is so nice, I cannot believe we have gone so long without it. Let's check it out in detail. To understand why the new changes are so massive, you need to understand the old system of mob despawning on Bedrock Edition. So as you might know, torches and other light sources throughout Minecraft of course emit a light level. It goes down 1 per block that you get away from the light source, so the actual light source is 15, and then every block away that you get goes down by 1 until eventually it reaches 0. So hostile mobs like creepers, spiders, skeletons, all of those creepy crawlies can spawn anywhere from light level 0 up to light level 7. And this has always been a thing for Minecraft, that's just how it works across all versions. At least that thing is very consistent. Now, the old system for Bedrock Edition required hostile mobs to be in light level 8 or above to actually be able to despawn, and even then it was a very low chance for them to actually despawn, an extremely rare occurrence that I've actually only ever seen happen like 3 times throughout my career of playing Bedrock Edition. It is seriously extremely rare. And of course you might notice that caves don't have lights, they're completely dark. Caves, they never despawn mobs. So yeah, anyone with any amount of logic can figure out that this system is extremely flawed. So to boil down the new despawning system in its most simple form, if a mob gets further than 54 blocks away from you, it is going to be deleted and instantly despawn. And we can see that here with those mobs. As you can see, we got further than 54 blocks away and they are gone. This happens to passive, hostile, and neutral mobs throughout the Minecraft world, as long as they do not meet one of these criteria to not get despawned. So if you've interacted with the mob in pretty much any way, it is not going to despawn, which I think is a very nice implementation. The player now has 3 different spawning and despawning spheres centered around them when they're in the Minecraft world. As you can see, I've got a little bit of a representation of those 3 spheres marked out in green, orange, and then red glass. Of course, these aren't just circles, they're spheres. They go all the way around the player. So from 0 to 24 blocks away from the player, nothing will ever spawn or despawn. That is kind of like the permanent area. Nothing's going to change unless you kill it or spawn it yourself. Now from 24 blocks to 54 blocks away, basically from this green area to this red area, this is where all kinds of hostile and passive mobs are allowed to spawn. So any mobs that are inside of the spawnable zone, if they then walk further than 54 blocks away from the player in any direction, they will be immediately despawned, which is quite nice and has some massive implications for the game at large. So that is more or less that. They'll get despawned, deleted, you'll never see them again, and they be dead. Now there is a little bit of a different system that they've added to this as well. Anywhere from 24 to 34 blocks away, anything can spawn, but there is never a chance for it to despawn. At least this is how it's intended to be. However, anything from 34 to 54 blocks away has a 1 in 800 chance to despawn, I assume every tick. And as long as they haven't taken damage within the last 30 seconds and they meet that criteria of 1 in 800 chance, then they will randomly despawn as well. So it doesn't purely rely on mobs going further than 54 blocks away. Mild mistake on my part, this most inner ring is 24 blocks, the middle ring is 32 blocks, and then it's 54 blocks. So just to show you how quick this despawn system works, I've set up a couple of command blocks right here. This one will teleport me up to 200 blocks in the air, and then one tick later, I'm going to be brought back to this spot. So we can press the button, we're going to look at that zombie over there, press the button, bam, and we're back. And as you can see, that zombie is gone. It's pretty much exactly instant, which I think is going to be pretty beautiful. So if you're flying over an area with an elytra or something, there's really no chance of a mob not getting deleted. So from a standard user's perspective, this change is going to have some massive effects on the game at large. First of all, you are going to see far more mobs throughout your Minecraft world because the mob cap will be constantly emptied by you moving around and despawning mobs. Mobs will not be caught up in caves below you where you will never find them. There's going to be a pretty empty free cap pretty much all the time. It is seriously going to be beautiful. Like just walking around, you'll see that all those guys back there, they're going to despawn. And as we start to fly in this direction, we're going to get more Minecraft mobs. It's going to be actually dangerous. The Bedrock Edition is going to feel alive and well and active, and everything is going to want to kill you all the time as you're walking around the world. It's so fun to see. I haven't seen this in ages since I played Java Edition. Like you're actually going to find mobs. Things will want to kill you now. It's gonna be a massive difference. Everyone that plays on hard mode nowadays, thinking that it's so easy, are actually going to be running into mobs constantly as they explore the world. Lighting up bases and lighting up caves is going to be an actually important thing if you don't want to have mobs, and it's going to be so much more fun to actually have mobs throughout your world. As another additional bonus, you're also going to be getting a lot more phantoms as well, since the mob cap is not going to be full. So all of you guys who never have phantoms, like me, you'll actually be able to get them now fairly easy, and they're going to be popping up pretty much all night in packs of 4 or more, and it's going to be like Java Edition where they're just quite the nuisance, and it's really fun. It is such a massive change that is going to have a massive effect on so many players, because mobs and everything like them is going to be so much more alive that you'll be able to see these guys all the time. I could talk about this for like an hour, but that's the general idea. You gotta see mobs, it's gonna be fun. This is also going to have a really big impact on mob farms as well, since you no longer need to build them over an ocean to avoid all of that painstaking lighting of caves and all those things. You can build these anywhere in your world. You can just build them up at the limit of the sky. No other mobs will be able to spawn around you because there's nothing to spawn on. Everything further than 54 blocks away will be automatically despawned, and basically it's just gonna be beautiful. It's gonna save you so much more more time when you go to build a mob farm in this game, and it's going to be just really, really awesome. This also has the added effect of getting rid of those massive drown buildups of like drowns, squids, dolphins, all those amazing things that I originally covered in my video on why we need despawning on the Bedrock Edition. If you haven't seen that video and you want more information on why this change is so massive, I would highly recommend that you go watch that. That video actually made its way pretty much all the way up the chain of Mojang command, all the way up to Lady Agnes, and has actually helped get this change added to Bedrock Edition, which is extremely cool that the community at large can have an impact on this scale on Bedrock Edition. It is so nice to see. Something I've actually had confirmed to me by the Bedrock Edition developers is that they are going for full parity with Java Edition when it comes to mob spawning and despawning on the Bedrock Edition. Of course, they haven't changed anything with mob spawning yet, but we should see some mob spawning changes in the future, which is going to be really nice, and that is going to help out this cause even more. The Bedrock Edition is going to be a completely different game on so many different levels. But now that I've given so much praise, all the praise that I can for the new implementation of despawning, let's talk about a couple of the flaws and a couple of the things that aren't quite ideal. 54 blocks is a very close distance to have mobs despawn from the player. That is like seriously extremely close. I feel like the bare minimum that it should be is probably like 80 or so blocks. However, if that's not a possibility, then 54 will work just fine. We'll be able to work with that. We'll be able to make farms. It won't be an issue, and it's going to be a massive upgrade from the previous system that we had. There's a very good reason why it is 54 blocks away from the player, and that is because of simulation distance. The default simulation distance on Bedrock Edition is 4 chunks, and that is for the very low-end devices like old phones and realms to run with high performance and not have any lag issues. As you can see, with a 54 block radius from the player, that is getting super close to unloaded chunks. This right here is technically an unloaded chunk if you're standing over there by that armor stand. So yeah, any further than 54 blocks and you're going to start having issues of mob buildups like what we've seen in previous updates. If you're familiar with my and Slack Lizard's despawn systems, then you'll know that we don't despawn mobs until they get more than 128 blocks from the player, exactly like a Java Edition. So clearly command blocks can grab mobs far into unloaded chunks and far out of the simulation distance, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal to expand this despawn line out to about 80 or so blocks, or even more, even 128, if that's a possibility and that they want to do. I'm sure there's some technical challenges there, but it should in theory be possible if command blocks can do it. Now, you might be thinking, okay, what if a mob walks from a loaded chunk and goes into an unloaded chunk? You're still going to have the issues of mob buildups, but not necessarily if they keep the 1 in 800 chance of despawning. That should fix the issues of a mob buildup as long as the mobs aren't taking damage, which they won't because they're in unloaded chunks. So I don't really see too big of an issue with expanding that out to 80 blocks. The only issue is that the game might not be able to despawn mobs from unloaded chunks, but again, that should be an easy fix. And of course, the other biggest bug that they have fixed in Bedrock Edition 1.16.0.51 is block lag. Block lag is no longer going to be a thing on the Bedrock Edition, hopefully, potentially, most likely. So of course I don't have a solid way to reproduce this issue because it is mostly a lag and, you know, multiplayer issue. However, from what I can see, there's no real lag in a solo offline world, which isn't really saying anything. But yes, it should be fixed. I've talked to CornerHard, one of the main developers for Bedrock Edition, extensively about this, and they're hoping that they've covered all the main use cases where block lag affects players. There might be a few niche cases where block lag could potentially still be in the game, but of course, they know about it now. They found a fix for it apparently, and that shouldn't be too big of an issue going forward, ideally. We probably won't know for sure until we get the full 1.16 release and we're able to test this on multiplayer, but we can hope, we can dream, we can keep our fingers crossed because block lag is so annoying and I cannot wait for it to be fully demolished and be a thing of the past. Can you imagine what that's going to be like? Does anyone here remember the ghost blocks from Java Edition? No, you probably don't, because they died. They're done dead. They don't deserve to be remembered. They were terrible and horrible, and they got removed in like 1.13, and everyone lived happily ever after. I feel like this is weird. Does anyone else feel like this is weird? I feel like I should be having an identity crisis right now. What have they done? Thank you ever so much for watching this episode of Bugrock of the Week. I do hope that you have enjoyed this different kind of beta video where we cover the 2 biggest bug fixes and the 1.16 beta for Bedrock Edition. Of course, if you want to see more beta videos like this in the future where we cover all kinds of things with the Minecraft betas, let me know in that poll in the upper right or down the comment section, or just leave a like on the video, as all those things show me that you guys like the videos and want to see more of them. If you don't like beta videos, then that's fine too. I probably just won't make them then. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video, subscribe if you are new here, and I'll see you all down in the comment section and in the next one. And then there was silence.